Do you want to know what youth want their parents to do? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, I'm giving you the inside scoop to what they really want. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some advice from my children, as well as some tips that you are not going to want to forget when you are working with your youth so that they can see that you really understand. All right, I often talk to my children about their childhood, what went good, what went bad. You know, what do you want to be as a parent? What a lot of times we don't recognize when we're raising our children and going through all these hard things is, okay, we're actually raising another parent. We're not raising a child. We're raising someone who's going to look back on how they were parented and go, did I like that or not? Now, I'm not going to say I did everything perfect all the time. Definitely this channel is because I learned a lot of things along the way. And oftentimes I got to learn many of them with other people's children because we did therapeutic treatment care for troubled teens for a lot of years. But I do love asking my children little questions from time to time, like what was meaningful to you? So I recently had a conversation with one of my children and her spouse, and they started telling me about their parents and things that they felt like were good that their parents did. And I just have to say, I'm so lucky that my children have married such incredible people who came from great families. What a blessing that is, because then those children also have good experiences to draw from so that they can say, hey, I want to do that like my parents did too. Because one parent does not get to control it all for everyone, right? The couple has to come together. So anyway, as I was talking to them about their adolescent years and the things that they felt like that they would do as parents, I recognized that what they were really telling me is what they were wanting or what they wanted in their adolescent years, and if those needs were met or not met. And so I would like to share that with you today so that you can get an idea of what they're really hoping for. When children are in their teen years, there's so many things that are happening. They're struggling with, body changes, with puberty and hormonal and chemical changes. They've got social changes. They're trying to prepare for adulthood. There are just so many things that are going on. There's a lot of stresses. Sometimes they start to detach a little bit from family because they're trying to get ready to launch into adulthood. This can feel awkward, hard, sometimes even cause relationship problems because they don't know how to make that next step toward adulthood, and they don't know the timing that they should be following on this either. So in these teen years, when they're in their youth, it can be really hard on them. And what we can do is just recognize what is it that they want parents to do for them, because they don't vocalize it very well. Let's just be honest about that, okay? They might say something like, you don't understand, or you're just trying to control me, or, or they might just get emotional, or they might even get silent and just not talk to anybody about anything. And so then we think, okay, they're trying to push us away. Does that mean they don't want us in their lives? Okay, well, if you were to ask an out of control child who's pushing his parents away, like, do you not want me in their life? They'd be like, I don't know, probably. But actually, if you look back, like just a short distance back with a young person, and you say, what did you really want your parents to do during that time? They didn't want the parents to just abandon them and leave them alone. They might have wanted freedom. I mean, that's one thing, okay? Of course they want additional freedom. But how do we give them that freedom? How do we show them that freedom in a way that's really going to be beneficial to them? Because stepping away from them and just abandoning them when actually they really need us most is not freedom. It's actually bondage, because now they're stuck, not having a person to bounce ideas off of. They don't have anyone for wisdom. They don't feel like they're accepted by the family because they've pulled away from the family. Now they have a whole different type of bondage that they have to deal with. And in the end, that just hurts them. So how do we give them that freedom? How do we help them achieve their goals, get to adulthood, launch from our homes? Well, we've got to understand more about what they want, not just the freedom, but there's more to it than that. We hear the word freedom all the time. They want perks, they want freedom, they want, cool opportunities, but there's more. Obviously, they want to have fun. And did you know that they want to have fun with you? Oh, I didn't even know I was going to get choked up right now, but I was just looking through some pictures the other day because there's a television program that's going to have me on it in a little while. I'm sure I'll end up talking about it sometime on this channel, and I'm not going to mention it now because it's still a few months out, but I'm going to be filming for that next week, and so they were asking me for pictures of my family, as they introduced me and stuff, and I was just looking through pictures, and I came across this picture of me and my husband with our two youngest children. So the two older ones had already married and left the nest, but these two younger ones, and we were mini golfing. And the pictures were like, and these crazy things. And we were doing these funny positions on the mini golf course. And it was just the silliest memory. And as I looked at these pictures, my heart was just so full at the fun times that we had. And I thought to myself, whose idea was it to go to that mini golf place? It was the children's idea to go to the mini golf place. They wanted to have fun with us. And when we were there, where did all this silly stuff come from? Was it us that was being silly? No, they know me and my husband are open to silliness, and we're like a little silly. We're kind of lighthearted, and we definitely, can kind of fly by the seat of our pants. But it was them. They were initiating so many silly things, turning everything we did to just silly. They want to have fun. They want to let their hair down and not have life feel so serious. They want to know that you know that life is not so serious. That if they make a mistake, you're going to laugh at it with them. You're going to be okay with the mistake. I have to say I have some regrets. I've always, like I said, been pretty lighthearted and fun and stuff like that. But I do think that like my oldest child probably had a more serious version of me than my younger children, because my oldest child, I was like, okay, there's these other ones that are coming after him. And so I've got to make sure that, things go really well for him because he's setting the example for everybody else. And I don't want any confusion to happen there with the other children, right? And so I definitely think that with my oldest, I was a little bit more like, less silly in the moment than I could have been. And I have a regret about that. Even though I've always been a pretty fun person, I know I could have been better. And sometimes we do experience regrets when we don't have enough fun with our children after the fact. So don't let that be you, Have fun because they want that. Talk to them more. They want that. I know it doesn't seem like it because they're not talking to you more. Maybe some of them are. Maybe the really extroverted ones are talking to you a lot and you're like, yeah, it drains me. Still talk to them more. The extroverted ones, talk to them more. The introverted ones, talk to them more. Talk to everyone more. And when I say that, I mean good key conversation type talking. I don't mean like, talking at them, but to talk with them. Have good dialogue. Ask them their opinions. Sit and wait. Listen to what they have to say. Really talk with them. They want someone to totally understand. One of the things that we did to really open that conversation is when our children were little, we started having what we called mentor sessions. And mentor sessions are something that I talk about in my Teaching Self-Government Parenting training. In fact, I have a book that I'll show you here in a second about the mentor sessions. But those mentor sessions were key times where the children, each child would individually talk with both parents, and we would talk about the things that were meaningful to them. We would help them make goals. We would ask them what their goals were, what their hopes were, and they would start to make plans for themselves. My daughter said to me, Mom, I loved those mentor sessions because I would say, I want to do this, and you would say, okay, we'll help you. Let's figure it out. How are you going to accomplish that? And I saw myself growing up. I saw myself actually taking on more adult things. And so I felt more mature and bigger. And I was glad I had that opportunity to do things I wouldn't normally do because we had our conversations in our mentor meetings. That's the power of having a deliberate talk time. It makes a difference. And then making sure that the things that you discuss are meaningful to that child and get them to think outside of their comfort zone as well. So this right here is a mentor journal. This is a booklet where you keep a list of your mentor meetings. This is something that you can come back to. It can be a history of the child's life. They put their name on the front. You discuss different areas of focus in this journal. You're going to be discussing their personal goals, their spiritual goals, their social goals, their academic goals. You're going to be discussing their behaviors, their relationships. You're going to help them make plans for becoming the type of person that they want to be. Now, these meetings every week happened, and they were like 20 or 30 minutes apiece. I mean, you can decide how long depending on how many children you have. We met with each child each week. I wondered if it was going to help them much past the minute. But when my daughter told me this was one of her favorite things because she got to make decisions for herself and she got to have us help her accomplish those goals and commitments she was setting, I can tell you right now, this is important. They want it. The mentor meetings are their most important meetings. In fact, oftentimes if any other child came into a mentor meeting, they would say, "Oh, excuse me, this is my mentor meeting. I'm going to give you a no answer. Can you leave, please?" And then the other child would be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sorry." And then they would leave because they didn't want anyone to interrupt them on their mentor meeting either, because it was their own personal time. They got all the attention. And we started when they were so teeny. They couldn't even read the words on the page. They were like 2 years old, and we were drawing pictures in the books, and we were saying, "Okay, well, what do you want to do for something fun this week? Let's set a fun goal." Or they might say, "I want to read this book." "Okay, let's read it right now." They would come up with something, and it was their time where they could bring anything to our attention. Concerns, struggles, addictions, anything they could bring to our attention during that time. Our children want us to prepare them to move on to adulthood. Now, I know it's been super common in recent years for children not to launch and to think, "Nope, I don't want to leave this house. I'm going to stay in your basement and play video games for the rest of my life." I know parents struggle with that. And some parents are like, "Really? Nicholeen, that could happen to me and I don't know what to do." They actually want to know more things. Many of the reasons that they are not choosing to launch is because they don't have the skills. They haven't learned adult skills, so they don't have confidence. It's basically just a massive lack of confidence for so many young people. They don't know if they can handle if a boss is upset at them. They don't know because they don't know how to handle if anyone's upset at them. So that's why they hide from all of that. They don't want to be part of it. What you have to do is actively parent them, actively teach them skills, just like I've been talking about, following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, disagreeing appropriately. Teach them the skill for how to be calm when they feel like they're about to lose it. Teach them how to talk with someone in a productive way. Teach them how to have a meeting and discuss. Those mentor meetings will actually help with some of that, but also having family meetings. Teach them how to step out of their comfort zone, how to serve other people. There are so many lessons that we can keep teaching them that will help develop their adult skills. And then you'll get to a point where you think to yourself, "Okay, you know what? I've done all that I can do on this, and now I have to give some of the power up to them." So maybe you teach all about the phone. You teach about the rules with the phone and the boundaries with the phone, but they hit a certain age, maybe they're 17 and you're like, they need to learn how to govern over this thing so it doesn't control them for the rest of their lives. So we're going to teach them everything we need, and then I'm going to say, "Now listen, I'm not going to be controlling you on this. You will either choose to destroy your future, or you will use this as a tool to help you in your future. And you got to pick that." There's a point where you give them the choice. You don't control every single thing about them. My daughter said one of her favorite conversations was when, she hit a certain age, and I said to her, "Well, you're 18 now, and I've taught you everything I can. And I'm still here for advice and everything else, but now your decisions, they're all on you. You have to just acknowledge them and fix most of the time. You now get to choose how you're going to spend your time." All these kinds of things. And she was like, "Whoa, it felt like a weight, but it also felt so good that you trusted me, Mom. You gave me some trust." That's what they want. Probably more than anything, they say freedom, but they want trust. Have those key conversations with them. Give them some of your trust, even if they violate it sometimes. Because ultimately, once they hit adulthood, You just have to trust. That's how it goes. And if you have children who are adults, you know what I'm talking about. If you have enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure that you will love a video that I have on this channel called The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. It's going to help you. It's going to help them. So listen to that video next. I'll see you there.